Today we're tackling one of the most debated questions in Christianity. Can women be pastors? Can they serve as elders? Can they preach and lead churches? This topic has sparked debates, divided denominations, and even fractured churches around the world. To understand it properly, we examined videos, books, scholarly commentaries, and even a Greek concordance. What we discovered was something surprising, a theological conflict that has been quietly shaping churches for decades. At the center of this debate are two major perspectives. The first is egalitarianism, the belief that men and women are equal not only in value, but also in their roles within the church. The second is complementarianism, which teaches that men and women are equal in value, but were given different roles by God, especially when it comes to church leadership. Unlike many discussions on this topic, our goal in this video is not to dismiss one side or blindly defend the other. Instead, we're going to examine the strongest arguments from both perspectives. By the end of this video, you'll understand what each side believes, the biblical evidence they point to, and the reasoning behind their conclusions. And finally, I'll share my own perspective on whether the Bible supports women serving as pastors. Some creators have spent dozens of hours exploring this topic in long lecture-style content. But in this video, my goal is simple: to bring everything you need to understand this debate into one clear, engaging, and balanced explanation. If you enjoy thoughtful discussions about the Bible and theology, consider subscribing. Our goal is to reach 1 million subscribers this year, and it would mean a lot to have you join us on the journey. So let's begin with the first perspective, egalitarianism. Egalitarianism teaches that women in the church can serve in any ministry they feel called to, including leadership roles such as pastor or elder. According to this view, leadership in the church is not restricted by gender. Many egalitarians base their argument on a famous passage from Galatians 3:28, which says, "There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus." At first glance, it seems obvious that this verse is speaking about salvation. In Christ, all believers are equal before God. So some might quickly dismiss this argument and move on. But the discussion becomes far more complicated when you look deeper. In fact, as someone who grew up in a complementarian church, I was genuinely surprised to discover how much biblical evidence egalitarians actually bring to the table. Some passages that appear to strongly support complementarianism may not be quite as straightforward when we examine their historical and cultural context. One of the most debated examples is 1 Timothy 2:11-15. The egalitarian interpretation of this passage is far more nuanced than many people realize. But to understand it properly, we first need to look at the cultural situation of the church Paul was addressing. Paul wrote his first letter to Timothy while Timothy was leading the church in Ephesus, and that church had a serious problem. In the very first chapter of the letter, Paul warns Timothy about false teachers and false doctrines that had begun spreading throughout the church. Timothy's mission was to confront those teachings and restore order. That larger context is important because the command about women teaching appears in the middle of a letter that is primarily focused on stopping false teaching.